Have you ever felt like the world was crumbling around you, even when you were trying your absolute best? Have you ever stared at your reflection and wondered, is this all there is? Is this my life? Today, we're going to share a story, a journey through the storm and into the light. This isn't just about one person. It's about the universal ache of feeling lost, the quiet desperation that whispers, "Am I enough?" It's a story for anyone who has ever wrestled with purpose, money, confidence, or simply figuring out what comes next. What if the answer wasn't a grand revelation, but a gentle whisper found in the most unexpected moment? What if true direction comes not from chasing, but from letting go? This is David's story. David was 28 years old, with a good heart and a smile that used to come easily. But life, for him, had become a relentless, uphill battle. He woke up each morning with a familiar knot in his stomach, a low hum of anxiety that never quite faded. He wasn't a bad person. In fact, he often went out of his way for others. But somewhere along the line, his own path had become overgrown and impassable. He carried the weight of unspoken expectations, the silent judgment he imagined others had for him, and the crushing burden of his own perceived failures. He had just lost his job, a role he'd held for 3 years, a job he hadn't loved, but it paid the bills, or at least it used to. The severance package had dwindled faster than he could have imagined, swallowed by rent, student loans, and the everyday cost of simply existing. His savings account, once a small but comforting cushion, now mocked him with its near-empty balance. Every transaction felt like a personal attack, every bill a reminder of his eroding stability. Have you ever felt that icy grip of financial stress, where every dollar spent feels like a sacrifice you can't afford? Then, the relationship ended. It wasn't dramatic, no shouting matches or flung accusations. Just a slow, painful drift apart, leaving him feeling even more isolated, questioning his worth, his ability to connect. It was like watching a ship sail away, slowly disappearing over the horizon, taking a piece of your future with it. He spent countless nights staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations, searching for the moment he'd gone wrong. "Am I a failure?" the voice in his head would echo. "Will I ever get back on track? What am I even doing with my life?" He'd scroll through social media, seeing friends building careers, buying homes, starting families, and a wave of inadequacy would wash over him. He felt perpetually behind, caught in a current that was dragging him further and further from where he thought he should be. This wasn't just about losing things, it was about losing himself. There was a constant ache in his chest, a dull throb of purposelessness. He was adrift, lost at sea, with no compass and no anchor. He'd wake up, go through the motions, and by evening, the exhaustion wasn't just physical, it was soul deep. He'd stare out his apartment window at the bustling city below, feeling utterly invisible, a ghost in his own life. The questions swirled. What's my purpose? Why am I here? What do I have to offer? The quiet moments, meant for rest, became battlegrounds for his thoughts. And then, the final blow. A crisp white envelope slipped under his door. An eviction notice. His sanctuary, his last shred of normalcy, was being taken away. He was teetering on the brink, staring into an abyss he never thought he'd face. He found himself on a park bench, the rain coming down in sheets, washing over him as if trying to cleanse away the pain, but only making him feel colder, heavier. Tears, hot and raw, mingled with the raindrops on his face. He wasn't just crying, he was sobbing, a primal sound of utter defeat, of a soul utterly broken. The world felt silent, despite the rumble of distant traffic. He was alone, completely and utterly alone, with nothing left but the gnawing despair in his gut. It was the lowest emotional moment of his life, a surrender to the overwhelming weight of it all. He had no more fight left. He just wanted it to stop. Then a flicker, a memory, soft and warm, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. His grandmother, her gentle hands, her wise eyes, her unwavering faith. He remembered her words, whispered to him countless times during his childhood, during moments of fear or uncertainty. "When you feel lost, David, look up." He remembered her kneeling by her bedside, a faint murmur of prayer always in the air around her. He hadn't thought about her specific words in years, not truly. But now, in his deepest despair, they cut through the fog. With a ragged breath, He closed his eyes, and for the first time in a long, long time, he spoke to something beyond himself. It wasn't a polished prayer, no grand pronouncements. It was a desperate plea, a broken whisper to the heavens. God, he choked out, the word feeling foreign on his tongue. If you're real, if you're there, please, just show me. Show me what to do. I can't do this anymore. He walked home that night, drenched and hollow, but with a tiny, almost imperceptible shift inside him. The next morning, still feeling the lingering ache of despair, he found himself rummaging through an old box of his grandmother's belongings, things he'd kept out of sentimentality. At the bottom, beneath old photographs and pressed flowers, was a worn, leather-bound Bible. It was hers. He remembered her holding it, its pages thin from use, marked with countless underlines and notes. He opened it, his fingers tracing the delicate script. His eyes landed on a verse she had underlined, a verse that seemed to leap off the page and speak directly to his weary soul. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. It wasn't a sudden, blinding light, no miraculous intervention. It was quieter, more profound. It was a tiny spark, a flicker of hope ignited within the desolation of his heart. A seed planted in barren ground. It wasn't about his circumstances changing instantly. It was about his perspective beginning to shift. He felt a faint tremor, like the first stirrings of an earthquake, not of destruction, but of rebirth. That day marked the beginning of a different kind of fight. It wasn't against the world or his past, or even his own failures. It was a fight for himself, guided by a newfound fragile faith. He started small, extremely small. He began waking up earlier, not to scroll social media, but to sit in silence, to reflect. He'd open his grandmother's Bible, not searching for quick answers, but simply allowing the words to wash over him. He prayed, still awkwardly, still sometimes doubtfully, but he prayed. He started to build small discipline habits, not because he felt like it, but because he knew he had to. He budgeted his dwindling funds with meticulous care, not just to survive, but to honor the hope that had been planted within him. He was actively looking for work, not just any job, but something that, even in a small way, resonated with his values. Something that didn't just pay the bills, but offered a sense of purpose. It was slow, frustrating work, filled with rejections and unanswered emails. But this time, the rejections didn't send him spiraling into despair. He found a part-time job stocking shelves at a local grocery store, a far cry from his previous career. But it was a step. It was an income. It was something. More importantly, he began to trust. Trust in something bigger than himself. Trust in the quiet promise of that Bible verse, even when life was not fixed yet, even when the path was still unclear. He learned that faith wasn't about having all the answers, but about taking the next right step, even in the dark. He started volunteering at a local soup kitchen, not out of obligation, but out of a growing desire to serve. In giving to others, he found a profound sense of purpose he'd never experienced before. He saw dignity in the eyes of those he served, mirroring the dignity he was slowly rediscovering in himself. He was learning that internal growth had to come first, that external changes would follow, not precede, the transformation within. He began to see the world as an opportunity, not just a threat. The knot in his stomach hadn't completely vanished, but it was looser, less suffocating. He was finally breathing again. David's life wasn't suddenly perfect. Challenges still came, setbacks still stung, and moments of doubt still crept in. Life has a way of reminding us that it's a constant journey, full of twists and turns. But something fundamental had changed within him. He found a peace that transcended his circumstances, a quiet confidence that wasn't dependent on his bank account or his job title. He had clarity, a newfound direction that wasn't about chasing external validation, but about living in alignment with his values and his faith. He learned that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars, but in relationships, in kindness, in the depth of his faith. He understood that purpose wasn't a destination to be reached, but a journey of becoming, of continually growing, serving, and trusting. He was still David, but he was a different David. Stronger, calmer, more resilient. He had faced the abyss and found light not in escaping it, but in looking up from within it. His story isn't about everything being fixed, but about finding an anchor in the storm, a compass for the journey, and a quiet, unshakable hope that allows him to face whatever comes next. It's a testament to the idea that even when everything falls apart, something truly beautiful can emerge if we dare to look up. This isn't just David's story. It's a reminder for all of us. No matter how lost you feel, no matter how daunting the challenges, there is always hope. There is always a path, even if you can only see the next step. If David's story resonated with you, if it sparked something within your own heart, know that you are not alone. And the journey, though sometimes difficult, is always worth taking. What faith-related word speaks to you most right now? Share it in the comments below. And if this story brought you hope, subscribe for more stories of faith and transformation.